Welcome back to yet another Johnny Torch live broadcast. Broadcast number 256 today. Torch News Roundup number 211. Got quite a packed show for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, a little bit later than usual. Had to put stuff together. Got a lot of stuff to do today. A lot of stuff to sort through to put together the show. I think we have a very entertaining broadcast ahead for you, so stay tuned. And if you're watching this on a rebroadcast, welcome in. If you haven't seen the show before, we take a crack at most pop culture events going on, talking about comics, comic-related film usually, and television, Star Wars, Star Trek, stuff like that. And we've got a very entertaining look at the Bullets Bourbon cover for the 9th issue coming up. Now, to settle some backstory here, we were going to do this on Twitter. And all week what I've been doing is doing Johnny's Jukebox, which is a feature I like to run on Twitter where I play a different song every day. And every day we played a different song that inspired me in some respects, or I thought at least went well with the storyline in the Family Jewels arc, which is the storyline we are working on right now, and the cover of which we will unveil in just a moment. So before I got to that on Twitter, I wanted to give my YouTube viewers the first crack at this cover. And again, we've been working on this one for a while, hoping that it'll be done by the end of the year. Of course, that's probably unrealistic. For the simple reason is, between Thanksgiving and New Year's, I am just completely, totally busy. And then if I do manage to, because I've got about 3 pages left to color and semi-ink and letter. And by the time I'm through with that, it will probably be around Christmas. And, I don't know if it's prudent to release something the week of Christmas or what have you. So it might wait until January. But you can get your first sneak peek at the cover right here and right now. So, let's see, without further ado, we are going to unveil the cover of Bullets Bourbon number 9 and the name of said issue. And this is the famous Death of Bullets Bourbon story. And we didn't have the heart to call it the Death of Bullets Bourbon, so the title of the story is In the Final Hours. And the song that corresponds to that, of course, is a Richard Harris song from the album A Tramp Shining, which I felt was very appropriate to the storyline. As you see here, this is the first cover that does not feature Bullets Bourbon. He is not on this cover for the first time ever. You see his hat and his gun, which is sort of the emblems, the trademark emblems of the character, so to speak. They're usually on the top, left and right of the cover next to his name. And instead, they're placed very neatly on the ledge there. Also, we changed the logo from his trademark blue color to black to symbolize that we're in mourning for the esteemed detective. As you can see here, it looks like Carrot Top is he's somewhat being reverential to the passing of Bullets. Everybody else seems more shocked. And if you haven't seen the behind-the-scenes images, you can check out my Twitter page. You'll probably find them there about the Death of Bullets Bourbon. And just check out Bullets Bourbon. Just check out hashtag Bullets Bourbon Week, and you'll probably get all the images pertaining to this issue that have been released so far. I'm going to be updating my website probably in the near future, certainly before this is actually available for purchase. So I'll try to get some of those images up as well on my website. So make sure you check out the link in the description below for my website, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, Bullets Bourbon Comics. And you can also check out my Twitter page. The link is also in the description below. And I was quite proud of myself, the snow effects we have here for this issue. I was kind of worrying about how I was going to get those snowflakes to appear, because in the original storyline and the original draft, it was supposed to take place on the top of a building during a furious snowstorm. And again, trying to do that by hand was completely impractical. I had to fortunately find a tutorial on the computer that was, you know, pretty simple to follow. So I managed to get the cover looking the way I wanted it. I managed to get the inside pages to have the snowstorm during the story. So, yep, I'm quite pleased with it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have any idea what is going to happen in this story? What are your expectations? Will Bullets finally fall victim to his arch nemesis Carrot Top? Does he still have a trick up his sleeve? He's always known to have a plan, Bullets Bourbon. That's one of the catchphrases, so to speak, if you've read the books, that you know that when he's brainstorming a plan, what happens. So let me know what you think, and I'm eagerly looking forward to getting this one out to you. This, like I said, probably early January, February at the very latest, but I'm pretty sure this should be ready for purchase sometime in January. It gets difficult because depending on the printing, sometimes the printers, they make me wait like about 4 weeks. Other times I only have to wait like 2 weeks. It depends on probably their workload, I suppose. But yeah, very eager to get this one out to you. And again, this is the landmark story that was built up as the death of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. And you can partake of this adventure of a lifetime, miss it at your own lifelong regret, as Bullets Bourbon takes on Carrot Top in a life and death struggle on the top of a building during a snowstorm. Only one will remain unscathed after this confrontation. So check it out on my website, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. It's an all-ages action-adventure extravaganza based on the exploits of a down-on-his-luck private eye who takes on the most colorful collection of villains imaginable in each and every action-packed issue. All right, so with that portion of the show out of the way, let us continue on here with the Torch News Roundup. This is the stories of the week. And boy, this seems like this happened long ago at this point. I guess it was only a week ago. But we'll start off with the trailers that were just released. First up, the trailer for Morbius. Morbius the Living Vampire. Boy, is he homely. I have to remind everybody about this story, because I think I told the story long before when it was first announced that the movie was coming out. But I was terrified of Morbius when I was a kid. I hated covers with his face on them, comics with him inside. It was horrendous. He is probably the most butt ugly character ever created, the most horrifying character ever created for a young child to see. And they've captured that just perfectly here with this horrendous looking mug that Jared Leto is sporting. I guess this is mostly prosthetics and masks and practical effects. Some of it could be CGI'd in to make him look even more hideous, but yeah, that is one homely looking dude. All right, so my thoughts on the Morbius trailer. Of course, the internet was all abuzz with what universe is this taking place in. It seems obviously to take place in the same universe as Venom, because they made sure to make mention of this is the strangest thing since that freak in San Francisco, and Morbius joking and calling himself Venom at the end of the trailer. But then again, you also have Michael Keaton's Vulture from the previous trailer. We already seen his cameo. And so does this take place in the MCU? Others are saying, well, you see the picture of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man being on the wall with graffiti in the background. It could be in the Raimi-verse. It could be in the Mark Webb, Andrew Garfield verse, because I think the Oscorp logo on the Daily Bugle page was from that film. Again, this is all an enigma, and I don't think it's really going to lead to anything. I think it's probably going to be in the Venom universe. Because we got too much, you know, sort of name drops there. The other things are probably just there for a wink and a nod. I don't think the graffiti or the logo is going to really play into anything. If anything, probably the Michael Keaton cameo just is going to signify that at the end of the movie, he's going to be transported to either the MCU verse or wherever this upcoming sort of crossover is going to take place. I think what they're building up to, I think, is more or less going to be some kind of Sinister Six project. I don't know exactly what that entails. Like, for instance, I know John Campea, I was listening to him, he was talking about how basically he thinks this is like an easy door for them to get the Tom Holland Spider-Man back into the Sonyverse. That's a very good possibility. I don't think that's too far off the reservation for a prediction. Or it could just be that all these characters that Sony is creating these movies for and everything, they might just be crossing over into the MCU after these movies. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it, but I do think one way or the other they're going to lead to the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I know I didn't look up any of these quotes, but I know that there's been a lot of talk show gab about Tom Holland saying, I don't know if I'm going to play Spider-Man again. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if there's going to be a Spider-Man 4. If there is, it's not going to be the same as the previous 3 movies. I think basically what he's doing is sort of the excuse me, the hedging his bets. When you don't have a contract in place, you can't just come out and say, well, I'm going to play Spider-Man forever. Now, you have to kind of be cagey and have to see what offer they put on the table, negotiations set in, and so forth. I think that's basically what it is. I think we all know Holland's going to be playing Spider-Man for at least another 10 years. That's my prediction anyway. He's probably getting another 3 Spider-Man movies, solo movies, and there's probably going to be some type of Sinister Six crossover team-up movie that may or may not be under the heading of Spider-Man. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, as for the trailer, I mean, again, this did not seem like must-see territory to me when I seen the first trailer. It's like, yeah, it's all right. It's kind of cool, you know what I mean? It seems to be going by the traditional lore of Morbius. I mean, I don't know his storyline too much, other than, yeah, he needed to experiment on himself and became the living vampire. So from what I know, this is kind of accurate. I mean, I think I probably know him more from the animated series because, like I said, I wasn't a fan of his in the comics when I was a kid. Reading the like the Roy Thomas reprints and so forth, it scared the dickens out of me. But that's what he's supposed to do, I guess. And this is probably somewhat more of a horror movie than even Venom. Because I know Venom, especially Let There Be Carnage, everybody wanted it to be this dark, gruesome affair. I don't think Morbius is going to be necessarily more violent or anything, but I think this does have more to deal with the creepy and jump scares and spooky images and stuff than you would probably find in probably anything else in the MCU / Sony. So, yeah, that's about it. I mean, like I said, it's becoming more interesting to me. I think it's rapidly getting closer to be on my to-do list. Still kind of dealing with the after effects of the cold I had a few weeks ago. So apologies if I have to cough, because I'm not going to mute the mic every single time I have to cough. But again, like, I decided to bow out on the Eternals, and I'm probably not going to see it. If I do, I'll I'll be sure to give a review. But this does seem like something that I am probably more than 50% willing to see now. Eternals was always 50-50, and to be honest with you, we're not going to cover it today. We're not really going to go into how it's plummeted, and you know, it's, I think at last I heard, at 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, which again, it's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, I don't necessarily want to see it fail. I mean, but it's like it really doesn't seem to show me anything of interest. It seems very bland and uninteresting. And as I said, dare I say, I was never really a fan of Jack Kirby's New Gods, to be totally honest. And I have absolutely no idea what his Marvel version, the Eternals, even was. The New Gods gets some traction because Darkseid is always having something to do with Superman and this and that in the comics. But let me get rid of this this horrendous looking character. But let me know what you think about the Morbius movie. Of course, I still have some copy to read here. This is the synopsis. One of Marvel's most compelling and conflicted characters comes to the big screen as Oscar winner Jared Leto transforms into the enigmatic anti-hero Michael Morbius, dangerously ill with a rare blood disorder and determined to save others suffering his same fate. Dr. Morbius attempts a desperate gamble. While at first it seems to be a radical success, a darkness inside him is unleashed. Will good override evil, or will Morbius succumb to his mysterious new urges? The cast of Morbius includes Jared Leto, Matt Smith, Adria Ajana, Jared Harris, Al Magdriel, and Tyrese Gibson. The movie will arrive exclusively in theaters on July 28th, 2022. So, not that far away. All right, let me know what you think in the comments below. And moving on to the other important trailer that came out just recently, we have the Book of Boba Fett. Of course, now I'm all caught up on The Mandalorian and everything. And at the tail end of The Mandalorian, one of the eager tidbits that we were set up for was Boba Fett returning, and he is apparently going to take over Jabba the Hutt's organization, crime empire. Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen it, but I think at this point, if even I've seen it, then everyone must have seen it. Let's see. The series finds Fett and mercenary Fennec Shand navigating the galaxy's underworld when they return to the sands of Tatooine to strike their claim on the territory once ruled by Jabba the Hutt and his crime syndicate. The series stars Tamira Morrison and Ming-Na Wen. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Robert Rodriguez, Kathleen Kennedy, and Colin Wilson are the executive producers. Blah, blah, blah. The Book of Boba Fett arrives on Disney Plus December 29th. That's even closer. What did I think of this trailer? I don't know, 50-50 for me. On the one hand, I'm glad they're giving Boba Fett a show because, I mean, I always wanted to see more Boba Fett. I think all fandom kind of unanimously wanted him to survive the Sarlacc pit and just have the legacy grow and continue on. My problem is how they're doing it, to be honest with you. I mean, they're going to keep taking the helmet off because whenever you have a name actor in there, they're going to keep taking the helmet off. Boba Fett is arguably the most enigmatic character that never shows his face, never talks too much. It doesn't seem to me like they're going to be going with that traditional depiction of him. This is a different Boba Fett than we've seen before. Also, I wasn't crazy about how they have him. He seems to be sort of like the voice of reason to the crime syndicates, the seedy underbelly of the galaxy, which is, once again, that's something that we were promised way back even when George Lucas was going to front a show. So, I mean, this is something that's interesting, but Boba Fett was the guy that had to be singled out by Darth Vader and warned not to disintegrate the Falcon crew. Boba Fett was the guy that was going to shoot Chewie stone cold dead in the carbon freezing chamber. Vader had to stop him. This is a guy that is ruthless and cold. This is not a guy that's going to talk nice to people. Now, again, there's so many things that marketing gets wrong. Is this something that they're trying to lead us to believe that he's this great, negotiator, and he's going to be empathetic to the crime syndicates or whatever? I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the idea of him having a sidekick. Again, he's a loner. He's the consummate loner, and you're going to stick him with Ming-Na Wen, who, of course, Ming-Na Wen is great. Everybody loves her, and I'm no different, but I don't see you sticking him with a sidekick. Now, I can see, honestly, Boba taking over Jabba's domain. Quite honestly, that would be probably something a smart guy like him would do. I think he's pretty clever. I mean, we've only seen him, if you're talking about canonically in the movies, for, 4 movies was he in. So, I mean, you could argue maybe he would stick to bounty hunting and not really want to just, sit on his lazy duff and just, rule the roost the way Jabba did. But, what would really be interesting is if we seen him come up against another Hutt. That would be something. I would love to see that. And I know there are, kind of other Hutts that were, Rada the Hutt was, I guess, his son in the Clone Wars or something. So it would be interesting to see if that causes some kind of friction and stuff. Anyway, I think this is going to be an interesting show. I like Tamara Morrison. I do hope he keeps the mask on most of the time, which, of course, they never do. This is kind of the same thing we were talking about last time about Darth Vader and how they put Hayden Christensen in the role of Vader again, which is great. But the mystique of Vader is the helmet, the same way that it was with Boba Fett. That's why Lucas was smart enough to just get voice actors. In the case of Tamara Morrison, of course, he was all the clone troopers and all the stormtroopers and Commander Cody, and he was all these characters, so it only made sense that he become Boba Fett. But again, you don't really need him. You just need his voice, and maybe the 2 or 3 instances where you can legitimately take the helmet off. I mean, they did that pretty well in The Mandalorian. They had him keep the helmet on. And I guess apparently they're not considering Boba Fett a Mandalorian where they believe in keeping the helmet on all this time. I'm not sure about how that works either, but anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett? Do you think this is just going to be yet another, another U-turn, another left turn off the reservation, and it's going to be quite different from what fans expected of Boba Fett? Or do you think that, we still have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni attached, and they typically got their head on straight when it comes to being respectful of the Lucas era and the Lucas vision of these, characters and so forth? Let me know what you think, and tell me in the comments below. All right, let's move on ahead here now. This is an interesting story I found. They have apparently cast an actor for Marvel's MCU Werewolf by Night. This was an interesting character in the 70s. Jack Russell, a man who became a werewolf, and I think he pretty much retained the smarts of his human alter ego, but he would become a werewolf. Let me take a look at the copy and let me see if maybe this will jog my memory. But according to the Wrap, Golden Globe winner Gael Garcia Bernal is set to take on the lead role in the currently untitled Werewolf Halloween special coming to Disney Plus from Marvel Studios. It's previously been reported that the project will be based on the Werewolf by Night character from the comic books. This character has also been rumored to appear in Moon Knight for some time. The Halloween special is reportedly set to begin production early next year, though we don't currently have any word on who will be stepping behind the camera to helm the project. We do not know which version of Werewolf by Night will take center stage. The classic version was Jack Russell, a descendant of lycanthropes. He eventually gains the ability to transform at will and retain his intelligence in the process. That's the one I know. Apparently, there was others in more recent years, but that's hopefully the one they're going to use. And this guy kind of looks like Russell from the comics, so maybe. Also, happy Halloween to one and all from the Johnny Torch Live program. We didn't do a show last week. We did do the long-awaited No Time to Die review. So check that out if you haven't already. Actually, is doing pretty good for a review. I don't get too many views on my reviews lately, it seems. But be sure to check it out. Leave a like if you would be so kind. What do you think about Werewolf by Night? I'm interested in seeing this. I mean, they could conceivably do a pretty good, you know, monster mass show that, you've got Morbius, you've got Werewolf by Night, you've got, they had, what was it, The Living Mummy? Is that what it was called? They had a mummy character, I think, to Marvel. So, I mean, they can put all these together and really do something special for Halloween. I guess they're gonna have to do a deal with Sony for Morbius. I don't know exactly to what extent that would impede progress. And also, of course, you've got Blade, which we really haven't heard too much, I don't think. Unless I missed something. I haven't heard too much about the progress on that. I think that's gonna be a show, a Disney Plus show, or it could still be a movie for all I know. I'm not sure. But anyway, would be interesting to see what they can come up with for Halloween next year on Disney Plus. Let me know what you think about Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night. All right, next up, some more thoughts about the Batman. Everybody knows my position on this. I'm not particularly fond of what I've seen here so far of the Batman. I thought the cowl looked pretty good. The costume looked pretty good. The car looked pretty good. And I don't have anything particularly against the casting of Robert Pattinson. But again, this looks like it's going to be another angry, reckless, murderous, potentially, Batman. And we've already had so many of those. This is the synopsis here. Let's see. A synopsis for The Batman has been released. It confirms that the latest big screen take on the iconic DC Comics hero is going to be pretty messed up. More messed up than usual. The trailers led to speculation that Robert Pattinson would be playing an edgier, more violent Dark Knight than we're generally used to seeing on the screen. I don't know how you can say that when basically Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, basically every Batman in live action has been pretty ruthless. Christian Bale probably not quite as extreme, but there you have it. The synopsis via Warner Brothers UK is as follows. I mean, I think it would be more unique if they actually gave us a Batman that was not angry and ultra-violent and edgy. I mean, that's why I said, I think if we actually go back to, like, the Bill Finger era and do the giant typewriter and do the, giant wheat head penny, that, that would be something different. That would be something to see that I would like to see. We don't have to make it too cartoony. I mean, we don't have to have Robin wearing the original 1940s costume. But, if we just try to be a little bit lighter, lighten up a little bit, get us back to where the original characters were that were pretty colorful and fun. The villains being colorful and fun, that would be a lot more in line with what I would like to see from Batman. But again, we all know that's probably never going to happen, at least not in our lifetime. All right, so the synopsis is as follows. The Batman is an edgy, action-packed thriller that depicts Batman in his early years. struggling to balance rage with righteousness as he investigates a disturbing mystery that has terrorized Gotham. Robert Pattinson delivers a raw, intense portrayal of Batman as a disillusioned, desperate vigilante awakened by the realization that the anger consuming him makes him no better than the ruthless serial killer he's hunting. All right, so let's take that apart for a few minutes. I don't really, I never seen Batman as a character that is identified with rage. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen him being as somebody that would go off the handle. I mean, you'd see that sometimes, like with the Joker, and he would beat the Joker senseless or something. But there always seemed to be sort of a restraint on his part, especially not to kill. Now, are we going through the same thing here as we did with Man of Steel? Oh, he has to learn not to kill. I mean, isn't that something that's kind of inherent in basic human understanding that you're not supposed to kill? I don't understand where we get these superheroes where the stories always start with, well, he has to learn not to kill. He has to find out that after he's killed people that there are limitations and things you can't do and stuff. Where does this come from? I don't know. I don't get it. A disturbing mystery has terrorized Gotham. Batman is a disillusioned, desperate vigilante. Uh, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we've gone through this before with Michael Keaton's Batman, especially. I think this is going back more to the Keaton Batman, where he's sort of portrayed as almost as screwed up as the Joker and the people he's fighting, and he keeps basically one toe over the line, and the rest of him basically stays within the boundaries. I don't know. I mean, again, this is not as good an actor as Michael Keaton was as Batman, and hopefully is. He's going to be Batman again. I never really saw that portrayal as being very accurate as Batman. I mean, Batman doesn't kill, and there's no two ways about it. That 1989 Batman killed with reckless abandon. Now, I mean, a lot of excuses were tried to be put forth over the years, but you really can't. You really can't excuse the complete wanton violence and death Batman wrought in that film. And finally, this part I'm not too sure about. The realization that the anger consuming him, what is he so angry about? I mean, that was the idea about Batman, is the anger is channeled into something positive. I digress. He begins to see himself in a similar light to Paul Dano's murderous Riddler. The anger consuming him makes him no better than the ruthless serial killer he's hunting. So now the Riddler is a serial killer. This is something that doesn't sit right with me, because I don't really have a problem with the Riddler killing. I don't think that was really his MO. Like for instance, the Joker, the idea was that he would kill people in funny ways. The Riddler is more like, I'm going to outsmart you and I'm going to show my mental superiority and so forth. Killing is sort of like a byproduct of that. Like, he's not setting out to kill people as much as he's trying to get one over on the Batman and, originally the police, I suppose, and then the Batman, once Batman shows to be a formidable threat to his, genius plans. I mean, that's why I always liked the Riddler, because, the Joker, he's sort of like the Joker in that respect, where he doesn't really want to kill Batman. I mean, the Joker is sort of got that thing going where he's like, why would I kill you? What would I do without you? You're too much fun to kill. The Riddler is probably like that even more so. I don't think the Riddler wants to kill Batman. He just wants to prove that he's superior to Batman, that there's something that he can plan that Batman can't uncover in time, or that, will somehow foil Batman's, attempts at stopping him. This is something that's, excuse me, in the Riddler's DNA. He needs to outsmart Batman. He needs to prove his superiority. And I think that's, pretty much the core of the character, not so much that he's a serial killer and he just He's just some crazy guy in that weird costume with a trash bag for a suit, and again, there's not really any flamboyancy to any of the characters in this. I mean, I think the Penguin looks pretty interesting with Colin Farrell, but again, they don't really have him dressed up. I mean, I can't wait. We got to go back. We've got to go back to the glory days of Batman. Bring back the glory days of Batman. Basically, a live action Batman the Animated Series. That's all I ask. Get Paul Dini in, have him write the script, get some consultants in, and just, get the designs of Bruce Timm and Ty Templeton, Alan Burnett. Go from there. That's what I want to see. That's what I would really like to see. Let's see. The copy continues on. We've seen Batman worry about crossing the line and becoming too much like his villains in the comics before. It sounds like this inner conflict is going to be brought to the fore in Reeves' film. Little H2O break. The Batman also stars. It just says the Batman also, but apparently the copy was supposed to say stars. The Batman also stars Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, race changing the character is a no-no. Andy Serkis as Alfred. He could be a good Alfred. I think that's an interesting choice. Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, of course, also race changing. Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Again, he looks pretty good. I think they completely dropped the ball on having him wear the tuxedo and stuff. The movie is set to hit theaters March 4th, 2022. Again, that's kind of an early next year. That's not, you've not got long to wait if you're interested in it. Me, it's another one I'm probably going to pass. I'm saying that an awful lot more lately. Passing on a lot of these films, it seems. But again, I don't like the direction they're going. They're not going to get my money. I'm tired of paying and justifying these films that are just not doing it for me. All right, next up, this, of course, is probably the 375th time Chris Pratt has been canceled on Twitter. Last month, we learned that Chris Pratt will voice the titular plumber in Nintendo's upcoming Super Mario Brothers animated movie. We didn't talk about that at the time, but yeah, he's going to be playing the voice of Mario. A good, fine Italian-American. And the Guardians of the Galaxy star is now signed on to play Garfield the cat in a new animated adaptation from Sony Pictures. Again, I mean, I don't really know what they have planned for the Mario movie. I mean, is he supposed to talk with the Italian accent? I don't know. I don't know what they do with Mario. I really haven't paid attention to much Mario media since, I don't know, probably since, the 90s when it was like really popular when I was a kid. I don't know. Garfield, I think he's probably a better suited voice for Garfield, but it's tough. You can't beat Lorenzo Music. I mean, he was that character. And Bill Murray took over after his passing when he did the movie. And ironically, Lorenzo Music took over the role of Peter Venkman in the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. So that's very interesting that was like, both actors took on their most famous characters, each other's most famous characters. Well, I find it interesting. Garfield, the lazy, Monday-hating, lasagna-loving orange tabby cat was created by Jim Davis back in the 70s and still holds the record as the most widely syndicated comic strip in the world. The character has previously appeared in several animated series, 2 live-action animated hybrid movies, 2004's Garfield and 2006's Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties, which were not well received by critics despite the strong voice work of Bill Murray. The first one was really good, I have to say. I thought that the 2004 Garfield, I thought that was actually a pretty good movie, if I remember correctly, because I haven't seen it, obviously, in like 15 years. But A Tale of Two Kitties, though, was extremely passable. I found myself bored to heck with that. But the first one was pretty much what, the comic strip brought to life. It's John Arbuckle, it's Odie, it's, all the stuff that they... I didn't understand why they had Odie as a real-life dog while Garfield was obviously computer-generated, but I don't know. That was a strange choice. It's funny. There's a funny story on how Bill Murray got those movies. Apparently, he signed the contract thinking he was working with a director that had the same name as the director doing the Garfield movies. But come to find out, it was a different director. It was a different director with the same name. So he was like stuck making the movies. It couldn't have been too hard on him, though. It was just voice work, right? But apparently, he's gonna have to look at his contracts a little bit closer next time. I didn't want to do a full segment on this, but also I've read that Bill Murray is apparently going to be doing a cameo in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's pretty interesting. I like to see Bill Murray doing an MCU movie. That's pretty cool. Um, Apparently, it's because at his age, at his stage in the game, he just wants to work with directors. He doesn't want to go out there and just sit on a whoopee cushion and do the stuff that we really want to see him do. But he apparently wanted to work with Peyton Reed, I guess, and so he got him into Quantumania by doing a small role, apparently. But again, this is sort of off the record. He just kind of let the cat out of the bag during some interview. Let's see, Chris Pratt recently starred in sci-fi adventure The Tomorrow World and is set to reprise the role of Owen Grady for Jurassic World Dominion. He will soon return to the MCU as Star-Lord when he begins filming James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I like Pratt, and I know that they just will try any way they can to cancel him because he's a Christian, he's a conservative. He pretty much keeps to himself and keeps his opinions to himself, of course. So that's not enough anymore. That's still cancel worthy in this day and age. But good for him that he's still getting a lot of work. And what do you think? You interested in the Chris Pratt-led Garfield and or Mario movies? I don't know. Let's see a trailer. Let's see how it goes. All right, next up, some CW Arrowverse news. Are we still calling it the Arrowverse now that Arrow's gone? I usually call it the CW verse, but this was good news. I was really happy to hear this. The lovely Jenna Dewan. It's no longer Jenna Dewan because she was married to Channing Tatum, right? So that's it. I just want to make sure that okay. Following a lengthy absence, she hasn't been seen since the first season of Supergirl. How could they have kept her out so long? I don't know. Jenna Dewan is set to make her long-awaited return to the Arrowverse as Lucy Lane. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the actress who played Lois Lane's younger sister in Supergirl's debut season will have a recurring role in Season 2 of Superman and Lois. This will actually mark the first time fans will see this iteration of the Lane sisters share the screen. Dewan was last seen as Lucy in 2016, but Elizabeth Tulloch didn't join the DCU until 2018 when she was introduced in the Elseworlds crossover. Only a handful of Arrowverse actors have showed up in Superman and Lois, with David Ramsey's John Diggle making a brief appearance. So yeah, apparently, that reminds me, Cat Grant saying that Lucy got all the looks in the Lane family between the Lane sisters. I wonder how that's going to age now that we actually know what Lois looks like. I don't know. No comment. For the most part, the show has been relatively standalone in nature, though we would like to see Makad Brooks' Jimmy Olsen make his presence felt given his storied history with the Man of Steel. I can't see him, honestly, as Jimmy Olsen. If anything, if they had to change anything and not rely on the Arrowverse, they could have just said that maybe it's a different Jimmy. Well, I don't know. I like continuity. I'm a continuity wonk, I suppose. I would really stick with Makad Brooks, but really, he is the worst Jimmy Olsen of all Jimmy Olsens that have ever been played in live action. And it's not had anything to do with his acting. It's just that he's a complete opposite of what Jimmy Olsen's supposed to be. A nerdy, freckle-faced, redhead kid. He's obviously a bald black, looking like an underwear model with self-assurance and confidence and stuff. You know what I mean? That is the complete opposite. And I know they were trying to go for that famous subverting expectations thing that everybody's so crazy about, but it really was a misstep. But maybe, maybe they could, still have a token appearance, supposedly, for him down the line. Dewan featured in 13 episodes of Supergirl before leaving to star in Fox series The Resident. Oh, I guess that's the reason why she never came back. She was busy with something else. That reminds me of like man, I can't remember the actor's name now. The guy who played Tommy in Arrow. It's like as soon as he was killed off in Arrow, he got a job in the hospital show or something. Cullen, oh, what's his name? The actor. I can't remember anyway, but and he would I would love to see him like as a regular on one of these shows. They could bring him back. I mean, they brought back Sarah, they brought back everybody. They could bring him back and give him a role, but they only just like give him guest appearances like one they gave him like once a year a guest appearance on Arrow. He's a great looking actor to play a superhero. I mean, that guy is like, poster boy for like attractive superhero guys. And they could have done something with him, and they just didn't because he had to work on another show that he got. It's the same thing with her. I mean, attractive, love to see her every week, but unfortunately, some other show beckoned her away. Let's see. The Arrowverse has essentially been rebooted since her last appearance. It remains to be seen what sort of changes Lucy's gone through since she departed National City. Of course, they did change the actor who played General Lane, right? So again, you never know. Everybody was worried that they were going to race change and change the character of Lex Luthor by having Captain Luthor in it, which of course it was really Henry Irons. And so again, I really want to see John Cryer's Lex Luthor. I think he's done a fantastic Lex Luthor. I'd really love to see him in this show. Let's see. All right, so yeah, so let me know what you think. This leads into our next story, because of course, apparently, Supergirl going off the air. I have not seen the last months of episodes of Supergirl, so I hopefully will be able to catch up on that very soon. But sad to say, Supergirl is ending, and Melissa Benoist, be still my heart, is leaving the cape and tights. I prefer the cape and skirt. But she's removing the super suit for the final time. But will it be the final time? Let's see. Supergirl is set to wrap up after 6 seasons on November 9th. Okay, so that's it. I didn't miss the season finale yet. With just a few episodes left, actress Melissa Benoist has now opened up on her departure, talking to Entertainment Weekly. The actress admitted that walking away from the role of Kara Danvers isn't something that's fully hit her yet. I don't think it's really set in, she admits. I definitely felt a different kind of closure when we wrapped on set, very bittersweet. I felt all the emotions you could feel in the last 2 weeks of shooting that show. But I think once the final episode airs, and I know that I really don't have to go back up to Vancouver to shoot, that's when it'll probably set in. I don't know if I was ready to say goodbye to the characters, which I think is healthy. She continued, you always want to be sad and miss something, and I'm so glad I didn't have that. Oh my gosh, I'm so ready. And just the feeling of wanting to throw it away and not think about it again. I definitely will miss playing the role, but I was ready for a break personally. There was some speculations that Warner Brothers pulled the plug on Supergirl because a new version of the character will be introduced in the Flash movie next year, played by Sasha Calle. I don't know. I don't think that was the case, to be honest with you, because she's just playing like a guest starring appearance, I think, in that movie. I mean, if she was announced for her own movie, that might have been different. I don't know. Benoist continued on saying, I'm not opposed to putting on the suit again, and I know there will probably be opportunities to. It would have to feel right for the character, and I know they would probably do it justice. I love playing with Grant Gustin. I love Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch on Superman and Lois, so no, I'm not opposed to it. Well, that is very good news. I'm very happy to hear that because, again, like I said, I did I think a top 20 list of my favorite actors to ever portray a superhero, and I felt that they were just perfect for the role. And she was up there relatively high. I mean, I think she made it to like maybe number 11. I mean, because we're also talking about some of the big names like at the top of the list: Christopher Reeve, Bill Bixby. These are some of the ones that made it really to the top. But yeah, I mean, Melissa Benoist, I just felt like she embodied that role physically, just the emotional nature of the character. Great actress, and she brought out that sort of you know genuine quality that Supergirl has. I think she's another Linda Carter. If Linda Carter is also one of those actresses up there that perfectly embody the role of Wonder Woman, then Melissa Benoist just perfectly embodied the role of Supergirl. So, as I said, we bid her a fond farewell. Sad that we won't be seeing her again on a regular basis, but I can't honestly expect her not to be involved in some kind of upcoming crossover in the future, or at the very least, some kind of, you know, guest starring spot, so to speak, on Superman and Lois. Maybe, hopefully, a recurring role that they could continue to bring her back like a couple episodes every year. And again, she has a great rapport with Grant Gustin. The two knew each other from Glee, I guess, and they're always fun to see together. So if she did cross over with the Flash, that would be welcome as well. But let me know what you think. I'm gonna try to catch up on Supergirl, and I don't know. I've been meaning to sort of give some feedback to the ending of some of these shows, but I haven't had the time, and the shows are starting over again. We've already got Legends coming back, Batwoman coming back, which should be interesting. So maybe I'll try to give some thoughts on an upcoming Torch News Roundup with how these things went. But yeah, sad to see Melissa Benoist hanging up the tights and cape on Supergirl. Hopefully she'll be back soon. All right, next up, our final story of the evening. Another young lady playing a superheroine, may I correct myself. Leticia Wright. Some news about her. And again, I heard something about this, but I didn't think that this injury was that serious. I don't really know what the injury is, because I don't think it's being publicized. They're not broadcasting really what this is. Let's see. We'll read the copy. As Leticia Wright continues to recover in London after being injured on the set of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Marvel Studios has been forced to temporarily halt production. The Hollywood Reporter has revealed that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is temporarily shutting down due to star Leticia Wright's on-set injury suffered back in August. That happened in Boston. Boston? My neck of the woods? I didn't hear that. And involved a stunt rig, and Marvel Studios issued a statement at the time saying the accident wouldn't have any sort of impact on production. According to the trade, Wright has been recovering in London ever since, leaving the sequel to shoot around her character Shuri. While cameras have continued to roll in Atlanta, sources report that this hiatus is needed to reconfigure the shoot in order to work to resume early next year. Luckily, director Ryan Coogler has managed to shoot everything he can without Wright's presence. That can only be sustained for so long, though, so it's no wonder the pause button has been hit. Leticia has been recovering in London since September from injuries sustained on the set of Black Panther 2 and is looking forward to returning to work early 2022. A representative for the actress tells the trade, Leticia kindly asks that you keep her in your prayers. Well, I certainly will. I hope it's nothing serious. I guess apparently it's nothing too serious, but she's, I guess they're waiting for her now to completely recover whatever this stunt injury is. And again, I don't know, I don't have high hopes for Wakanda Forever. I mean, honestly, the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman really put a lot of pressure on this production, that you're gonna basically do a Black Panther movie without the Black Panther and have to pass the mantle, as it were, on to apparently Shuri, Letitia's character. And I don't know. I don't know how that can go. I mean, I suppose since we're not recasting characters, that's not going to be a possibility here. So it's going to be Shuri. This is something they probably were going to do at some point anyway. They just expedited it because, unfortunately, Chadwick really deserved getting a Black Panther trilogy. Unable to, and now Shuri's going to get the mantle a little bit earlier than probably projected. Let's see. It's noted that Shuri has been elevated to Black Panther Wakanda Forever's lead, and the movie remains on track for a November 11th, 2022 release. Again, it's still probably on my to-do list. I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly. I mean, the first Black Panther movie was pretty good. I mean, I think a lot of people overrated it, and it kind of got this big, huge status as multiple billion-dollar movie and so forth. But it was serviceable. It was good as a Marvel movie, and again, I don't think they could do better than that. It was with the unfortunate hand that they've been dealt. And there's been rumors also that Namor, the Submariner, will be introduced in this film. I don't know how true that is. So far as we know, it's still a rumor, but that might elevate interest in the project going forward. Who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Shuri. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And that's about it. That will do it for another edition of the Torch News Roundup, number 211. Make sure you check out our link in the description below for the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eyes. We said keep up to date. You can find me on Twitter. You can keep up to date with all the upcoming knowledge that's going to be released slowly but surely about the project and when it will be available. As a public service, most of us here in the U.S. have our clocks set back tonight, fall backwards, spring ahead. And I think most clocks at this point are just automated. It's just the old-fashioned, old-school ones you have to fix. So remember to do that if you have any of them left. I don't think I have any of them left, quite honestly. And make sure you hit the like button. That's really helps with the algorithm because I'm getting a lot of new subs, but I don't think I'm getting as many views on these as I have. They're saying my views are going down, even though my subs are going up. So make sure you hit like. Make sure you share the videos if you haven't. Make sure you sub if you haven't already. Always appreciated. We're trying to hit 300 subs by the end of the year. We got a month and a half to do it. Maybe we can do it. Gonna try to do another video next week. Sometimes it's tough when there's not enough news, really. I mean, we didn't tackle some of these things. There was the big brouhaha over Ruby Rose coming out and talking smack about the CW and stuff. That could be a show all on its own. Maybe we can tackle that if we don't have no news next week. I didn't think we had time for that in this week's edition because that's kind of a detailed storyline. And I haven't seen the new episodes of Batwoman. Maybe I'll try to make that a two-pronged attack for a video. But also, let's see. I think next week Ghostbusters Afterlife comes out, and I'm very eager to see that one. So probably the week after next, I'll be doing a video. I know that much about Ghostbusters Afterlife. It might be just sort of a stream of consciousness one like I did for No Time to Die, which, again, please check that out if you haven't already. And, we'll make sure we'll get that one reviewed. If I ever do find out that I'm going to see Eternals, I'll be sure to do a video on that one as well. And we probably got Spider-Man No Way Home review coming up. So it's a lot of reviews. I started the channel basically as a review channel, and I'm finally getting a lot of material to keep doing reviews practically every week, which is good. All right, so until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.